So Russian national identity is not only about empire, territorial extent, it also has some big ideas attached to it. An ideology that somehow this territorial expansion is either progressive, beneficial, or positive, and it's a myth. So under the Tsars, the ideology was this Third Rome of the Russian Orthodox Church. Third Rome was in Moscow. I know this is news to you. I'll explain how it works. So there's the Rome we all know about, the Rome. That was Rome number one, the one where the Pope is. The Rome number two, according to the Russians, has to do with the Byzantine Empire, and that was Constantinople or Istanbul. So when that falls, the Russians go, ta-da, it's Moscow. Not really, but they use this Russian Orthodoxy and spread the Russian Orthodox Church back in the day deep into Eastern Europe. So when the communists get in, they're not spreading Russian Orthodoxy, they're spreading communism. The problem for Putin is today neither communism nor Russian Orthodoxy are marketable ideologies, so he's just stuck with being a really big place. That's where his little focus is. And Russia has a nightmare scenario. They don't always win these wars. They lose quite often. And the Mongol yoke, or the yellow peril, their terminology, not mine, is the 13th century when the Mongols just swept in and the Russian elites became tax collectors for the Mongols, an extractive role that has endured. You think about Russians, they extract resources, their own, other people's, but they're not known for producing wealth. It's just resource extraction. And this is some of the legacy of all of that one. And the Russians have also suffered devastating defeats to Napoleon in World War I and World War II that just devastated Western Russia. So they've had bad times. And in our own time, Putin is dumping all of his ordnance on Ukraine, leaving Siberia wide open to China's ambitions. So if he keeps the game up, he may well wind up with a Chinese yoke, and his nightmare will be there for him. The Chinese also have their own big ideas, not religious ideas or empire, but about civilization itself. The idea traditionally, that the Chinese believe there's only one civilization that would be theirs. It's based on Confucianism. That would be a world order unto itself. And that worked for them for a couple thousand years. And there are certain pillars of legitimacy that have endured, probably originating this, but enduring one. And one is ethical rule. Well, that's gone for the Communist Party. Let's try the next one. Economic prosperity. Whoops, going fast. That leaves the communists today with territorial expansion. Well, that's ongoing with territory incursions into India, South China Sea island building, and then all these gathering threats to Taiwan. And in part, what's going on is the Communist Party wants to play the nationalism card the same way Putin is. If you haven't gotten anything else for you, play jingoistic nationalism, because we human beings seem to be particularly attentive to that one. And so that if you focus on that, maybe the Chinese people won't look at the ethical lapses of the Communist Party or the fact that their paychecks aren't going anywhere anymore. So good old Xi, he doesn't have a marketable ideology anymore. And what's really scary is Confucianism had just been this enduring feature of China. Dynasties came and went, but Confucianism stayed until China was unable to fend off Japan in the first Sino-Japanese War that I've told you about, and the Europeans in the Opium Wars, when all of a sudden Confucianism just seems totally inadequate. And so when enough Chinese cease believing in Confucianism, that's when you get the 1911 revolution, and it just vanishes as a organizing principle for running your government. And this is the total nightmare. One of the frightening things for the Communist Party is when people cease believing in communism. So when China's nightmare scenario is these horrible periods of chaos, they're afraid of, if the communists go, that China's going to devolve into these civil wars, these periods of one. And a second one is that maybe Russia, or the Soviet Union, when it shattered, that may well be their fate, that maybe these communist regimes can't last forever. So Russia's nightmare scenario is other people invading Russia. China's nightmare scenario is the collapse of China. It's two different ways, two different things to worry about.
If you enjoyed this clip, you can watch the full episode here and subscribe for more clips. Thanks.